All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. Let me begin by saying thank you to our panelists, and you're going to get to introduce yourself and students. Love seeing you any chance we get. I've been very excited about this topic for some time, and real excited to have the four of you with us. So I want to make sure that I point out that we have 3 Appalachian alumni and 1 Appalachian parent. And we do not take lightly the support that we get from our alumni, from our parents, from other university friends, and to students. You know, this is the way networking works, you know, and we hope that in a few years when you're out and you're making it big and you have an opportunity to hire, we hope you'll come right back to us to find more Appalachian students. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with introductions, and I'll tell you, I'll kind of point us in that direction, but you know, introduce yourselves and a brief description of your company and your industry. And, you know, very quickly, tell us about your path, because students love hearing your stories and your paths to your position. So I'm going to start with alphabetically by company. Let's start with Mac, with E&J Gallo Winery. And then we'll go to National General and Sherwin-Williams.
Okay. So as you said, Mac Aycock, graduate of Appalachian State 2009. Was pretty good with technology when I was there, but Zoom seems to be still something I'm working on learning. So hopefully I don't get cut off of this call while we're on it. But I got involved through the same process that a lot of folks are going through right now. It's just a few different things that it was called, but saw a couple different representatives at a career fair, chatted with them, kind of just asked about the industry and some honest questions that I had. I think that was one of the keys there was, you know, being open and trying to really get as much pertinent info as I possibly could. Then saw some of the recruiters in Peacock Hall outside of classes once or twice after that. Caught up with them and just kind of over time gradually found that it was something that I felt like I would fit in really well with. The skills that I had, I felt confident in, and ended up going through the interview process that everyone goes through nowadays, and actually was not offered a job offer through the final round, but knew that it was something I wanted to do from the research that I'd done. So went and started within a wholesaler, which I can explain that a little bit later when we have the opportunity, but started with them as a kind of, I guess, prove yourself in a way. Was able to do that, and then got on board with Gallo a few years later and have been with them for over a decade at this point and have loved every minute of it. For sure, something that I knew I wanted to do, committed to it, and don't regret anything along that line.
Yeah, and just thank you, Mac. And just in case, I don't know if you said this, but for Kennedy and Thomas, I want them to know that you're the world's largest winery. So you're selling wine and spirits, correct? Those are your 2 products.
Yes. So we have we've got multiple groups that we have our wholesalers cover. So we have like a spirits team, we have an on-premise team, we have a retail team, and everybody kind of together has essentially silos. I don't like to refer to it like that, but they kind of are. We all work together in a way. But
yeah,
we've been busy working on a acquisition that just went through with our largest competitor, where we bought about half of their portfolio of wine. Constellation Brands is a publicly traded company, so it's been fun, tiring, and you know, all the above as of the past month or so. But that's part of what I enjoy about it.
Great, thank you. Okay, Mark and Jenna, you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hey, I'm Mark Crabb, National General Insurance in Winston-Salem. I recruit for claim rep trainee positions. What a claim rep does is investigate auto accidents, taking detailed recorded statements from drivers, witnesses, passengers. You look at photos of the damages of the cars to help line up points of impact to see how they hit. You also use Google Maps to look right down at the accident scene to help guide your questioning. And really, you're the one who puts all these pieces together to determine what really happened and who was at fault. And if our insured's at fault, how much do we owe for damage to the other car, or rental while it's being repaired, medical bills, pain and suffering, those type things. So it's a lot of investigation, a lot of decision making, and a lot of customer service. That's kind of it in a nutshell. And I recruit heavily at App State. I'll hire 100 to 105 claim reps a year, and about a third come from App State. And I really enjoy working with Deanne and the other staff there. As far as my path, I started off as a claim rep trainee 33 years ago. And then I was a phone rep and a field rep, and then I managed phone reps, and then I managed field reps, and then I became a regional claims manager over the field in Western North Carolina, and then a regional claims manager over telephone reps in North Carolina. And now I'm the divisional claims manager for the Mid-Atlantic Division, which includes about 8 states. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And I hope you will leave with some ideas about what you can do with your degree. I can tell you, I hire all majors, and Jenna, I hired her from App State, a couple years ago, Jenna?
Yeah, 2019.
Okay, why don't you tell them what your degree is, and
yeah,
what's your path been so far?
Yeah, so again, my name is Jenna, and I'm also with National General. So I graduated from App State in 2017, and I was a dance major. Somehow ended up in insurance. But yeah, I think that's something that's actually kind of unique about our company is there is a wide range of people with different backgrounds, and you get to meet a bunch of different people here. But yeah, a little bit of how I got into insurance. Graduated with that dance degree, and I did go into teaching dance. I taught dance at 2 different locations for 2 years. So the first location was in Guilford County Schools, and then the second location was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I wanted to move back to Winston area because that's where I'm from. And so I actually had a friend who I knew from App State. She also went there, and we were in the same sorority. She actually worked here at National General, and she was actually the one who told me about the position. So that is where I applied. I met Mark, and I got the job. I started as a material damage claims representative, as what Mark described, doing all the investigating, things like that. And I did that for about a year and a half, where I then moved into investigating coverage and material misrepresentation in the claims department. It's a lot of detail for insurance, but after that, I was lucky enough to get the position of going to being a claims trainer. So I've just started that here in 2021 and started helping training the new employees that will be our claims representatives.
Awesome, thanks. I'll just make a point to mention, Mark, I believe you've mentioned to me in the past that the company had a different name when you started. So, to Mac's point, there are always changes. And, Jenna, glad you talked about congratulations on your promotion. And, that's part of what's going on here. Our goal with this program is to show that there are phenomenal organizations who are eager to hire you, develop you, train you, and then move you, really provide some upward mobility. Okay, Tim, would you mind to tell us about Sherwin-Williams? I have never forgotten the enthusiasm that I remember hearing and seeing from you when we first met a couple of years ago. So take it away.
Man, you've known me since I've been all in this program, to just being a little trainee to now, right? So I'll start off with my path. So I started Sherwin-Williams when I was, I think, a sophomore, I believe. So what I did is I went through the career fair, and a good friend that I met through a neighbor when I was in college, he was at the career fair. I was like, come see me. I'm representing Sherwin-Williams. I'm like, what is that? It's paint. I'm like, paint? I ain't going to work for no paint company coming from App State, right? So I went to the career fair and started talking to him, and he told me to come into his work because he actually worked at the store right there in Boone. So I went in there, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. I'm just watching what he's doing. I'm like, oh, cool, you're tinting paint. Great. So he actually started kind of showing me things behind the scenes, you know, on building relationships and business and how they keep sales rolling and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is not too bad. So I actually applied for part-time. So I was a part-timer, you know, because who needs a little extra money for, you know, App State, you know, little night scenes and going out with friends. So I did that for a while, but, you know, as it started coming to the end of the years, and I'm like, man, I'm about to graduate. Like, what am I going to do? Like, do I want to continue with Sherwin-Williams or, like, you know, use my degree to do, you know, as young in college, you know, you're just like, man, I got to do something awesome when I graduate, right? But I decided to kind of further my career with Sherwin-Williams, but I started off with doing the internship. Okay, so I did the internship because that's like a deeper dive into kind of what they do, but it's just an internship, so it's harmless, you know, and you also get credits and it's paid, you know, so I was like, why not do that for a summer? So I did that for a little bit, and it actually seemed pretty cool. So I was like, as soon as I finished my internship, I graduated. So, because I had to finish up some classes over the summer. So I was doing summer classes in the internship. So it worked out perfectly. And as soon as I got out of that, I got placed as a management trainee. So I did a management trainee program, and that's an even deeper dive into the management aspect. So I got to see everything that the managers were doing, things that you had to do, goals that you had to hit, all the technology involved, like how to work with customers, got to ride with sales reps. It's just so much. I could overwhelm me, but that's why I'm leaving it. So I did that for a while. And after the MT program, I was in it for 4 months, because after 3 months, you get to float around and see the different demographics and, you know, the different cultures of the stores. So they call it floating around. So you just kind of see how they all work. I got placed as an operations manager in Huntersville, or they'll call it an assistant manager in certain stores. So I did that for about 2 years. And then I got placed as an outside rep. So I actually skipped a step of management. So now I cover 6 stores and 500 accounts. So there's a lot of progression with this company, and, you know, they definitely realize your performance. It doesn't go unrecognized, and they definitely train and develop you. I had no idea about paint when I first started, just so you know, like, no, I had no urge to go paint a house or anything like that. But there's just so much. Once you get to the training, they definitely make you more comfortable with everything. So there's a brief start to where I'm at now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I want to go ahead and point out that our wonderful employers present with us now and who will be participating in the fair tomorrow, these programs are well planned. And I would like to just volunteer that in my opinion and the opinion of our staff on campus, they provide a good income while they're training you, and they are investing in you as well. So if students, that is a priority for some students. If you're going to be facing student loans, becoming independent immediately after graduation, these companies will offer you a very good opportunity on many, many levels. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go to panel. We're going to go to my third question. And let's go ahead and get to the topic at hand, because now the students know, okay, a little bit about what you do. It's always going to be hard to know what the day-to-day looks like, but I think they know your product and your industry a little bit. Let's help students think beyond. The goal of this program is to help students think beyond how we identify students as majors. And Mark, as you mentioned, you hire all majors. I know that's the case for everyone here. Just follow my question here. I mean, feel free. We know Jenna's dance, but Gallo, Sherwin-Williams, would you like, I mean, are there some other unique majors that you know that you have hired that might be interesting for our students to hear?
I have a pretty cool one. So our vice president of the company is actually a psychology major. He has a bachelor in psychology. You know, so I mean, he's the vice president of the largest company in sales, right? And psychology is his major. So there you go.
It's a great foundation for sure.
Would I be able to share something on here, like an image that I have pulled up?
You should.
Okay.
Give it a whirl.
Give it a shot here.
I'm gonna do that next.
Yeah, y'all, give me a sign if it pops up.
It's there.
Okay. So, yeah, along these lines, as far as, looking at particular majors, we don't necessarily hone in on, one or two specific ones. Obviously, we train for sales out of the gate, for those that are familiar with the program. And then we do that to move you into a leadership position down the line where we select, whoever the best fit is based on what they want to do, where they want to live, what we feel like their strengths and opportunities are. We want people to grow and not just put them in something where, it's just, another day on the job, something they're familiar with. So the phase 3 is after you go through sales rep, district manager, and then your first role with Gallo. And obviously you can see by this list here, there's all kinds of different opportunities that we have on shopper marketing, which is, the advertising campaigns that they run in stores, the e-commerce, that's a huge thing right now. Delivery services, Drizzly, all the places where you can order alcohol and food. That's a huge deal for us right now with the pandemic going on. Finance, of course, my least favorite of all of these that I will definitely not be going into. But then distributor upper management, which is a path that I went down. And so really it's just at that point, it branches out into things where you could utilize your major, but also use, what we train you to be going into. So understand the industry from the ground up. I know both the other companies on here do the same thing where they like people learning from the ground up so that they understand how everything operates. And I think that's extremely important. But yeah, we provide tons of different opportunities for everybody to excel and move on.
Thanks, Mac. I'll get you to stop sharing if you don't mind, because I think I'm going to pull something up. And I just wanted to mention, I remember when I came back to the university, one of the first reps I met with Gallo was an anthropology major. So it really does run the gamut. Are there any others that might surprise us that anybody wants to throw out before we move to the next?
Well, actually, right before the meeting, Deanne, I was looking at, we've got a class going on right now with 9, and 6 of the 9 are Mountaineers. And then I looked at the ones I've already hired for the March class, and I looked at their majors just to give you an idea of the variety of majors that I do hire. It's sociology, criminal justice, sports management, communications, and health fitness. So again,
yeah, good examples.
It's not so much about what the degree is, it's how you applied yourself and how good of a fit you'll be with the company.
Absolutely. And we're going to move to that. I'm going to try to share my screen if I can get my, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay. Just for the panel, I did mention our NACE career competencies. So students, what we are always eager to do in the Career Development Center and with the College of Business teams, I know, is we want to get you career ready. And so this slide represents research from hundreds of employers. And these have been identified as top skills or competencies that employers need and want to hire. So you'll notice there really isn't anything related to a particular position. Again, these are very general competencies. And in my role in employee relations, I'm hearing a lot. I hear and see a lot of repetition in these: critical thinking, problem solving, communication, teamwork, and leadership are probably the top ones, and professionalism as well. There is some current research on this global intercultural fluency. It's actually being changed to inclusiveness. And there was an interesting statistic about a year ago. It was more than 60% of CEOs said they want to hire new professionals who value inclusivity. And this even means inclusivity of ideas. And that even gets you back to the teamwork and collaboration. So I encourage students to look at these and take this in and reflect on any and all of your experiences inside the classroom, outside the classroom, part-time work, volunteer experience, and where and how you may have developed these competencies. And then know that they're going to talk about their what they're hiring for shortly. But think about how you present these competencies, 1, on your resume, and 2, in interview situations. And you will definitely be prepared for the process. So the next question is, about being career ready in general. To join your company, do you have feedback about these competencies or the top skills, experiences, and qualities you're looking for when you hire college students?
I can get us started. I noticed at the top of the list, the top two actually were critical thinking, which is very important for us because when you're investigating an auto accident, you have to think about what questions matter and in what order to ask them. And then I think the second one was communication skills. You know, it's amazing, especially young people are so used to talking like this. When all of a sudden they're faced with having to speak with somebody over the phone, it can set them back a little bit. So any experience you can get now with actually communicating with customers or people, especially over the phone, in our case, is very helpful. But oral communication skills, not only just simple introductions and explaining the process, but there's a salesmanship that goes along with it. Let's say you've completed your investigation and you have to settle on a total loss claim, for example. Well, you have to sell them on the amount that you're offering. Or maybe you have to sell them or explain to them your decision on why you're not paying their claim. And that can be tough. You're about to tell them something they don't want to hear. But another bullet she had up was professionalism. But if you approach it in a professional manner, and with your goal being to explain it to a point of understanding, you'll get there. So I love some of those bullets that were up.
Awesome. I mean, I can piggyback off of Mark. Communication and problem solving, like you said, critical thinking, those are like the core, characteristics that we look for, just because, I mean, you deal with customers on a daily basis, but you also deal with the stores and, and like I said, I was going to add leadership to that, being able to develop programs within your stores to, be a leader and to grow those employees as well. So that way, they share the same, values, not as you, or can bring something new to the table, or you can find ways to develop them in different areas. Just having that ability of leadership is good. But then I was going to say, especially with communication, complaints, depending on how small or how large, having a $750,000 complaint, that's a big deal. So you have to critically think and be able to approach that the right way, or it's either, you might not have a job, or, it's just a bad thing. Price increases, being able to critically think of lines of inquiry, of the best ways to approach each call that you do or each face-to-face that you do. But yeah, so yeah, leadership, critical thinking, and all that, that's definitely important.
So for us, of course, the things that everybody said are for sure really important. Some of the I guess lesser well-known things that we like to look for, one being self-starting. So when you're starting off the sales rep, you're out in either grocery stores or calling on restaurants, bars, and you're not necessarily standing right beside somebody all the time or working in an office setting where you're able to just kind of walk next door and ask somebody a question. Of course, lately that's been the scenario. I'm here, and I've actually, if I could turn my camera on, I got a cup phone I'll put over to my boss's office just so I could jokingly talk to him, but it actually works. But anyway, I digress. So we like self-starting because you got to be able to motivate yourself, get out there and say, here's what my goals are today. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and attack this and this. Here's my opportunities for growth. Be able to openly reach out to everybody else that's on your team, your supervisors, and kind of, pull in any kind of motivation that you can, and also be able to put that back out to everybody. So self-starting is something that I felt like was super easy for me, but then actually starting in the real world outside of college, it was one of the more difficult things to do because depending on how much you work or how much you enjoy it, you can get beat down some days, no matter how much you love your job. You can overwork yourself doing something you love. So that was something that I was kind of, struggling with a little bit, but more just learned how to cope with it and make the best of it. So something that I feel like a lot of the things on resumes where you can tell you're doing something that you might not be necessarily comfortable with, or an assortment of activities and groups and organizations and leadership positions with them. It just shows us that you're willing to step out, take that chance, and learn by trial and error.
And something else that I was going to, being open and willing to learn. I learned is one of the biggest things, honestly, that helped me a lot. Just there's always something you don't know. So always be open to learn. I don't care how long you've been in the position you're at. Even as a rep, there's some things I don't know, and I'm actually open with customers. I'm like, hey, I'm here to help you with anything you need, any resource. However, if there's something I don't know, but I'll find out. And that really goes a long way. Because they really know that they can trust you. You're not feeding them a lot of baloney, and they love that, and that goes far with any company that you work with. And I like what you said, man. That self-driving, having that inner grind, because for me there was some stores that didn't fit my personality. I was outgoing, ready to talk to people, sell, and I had a older group of people that I worked with where they would just go outside, smoke a cigarette, and then throw all the work on me. So there was a time where I almost gave up with Sherwin-Williams, because I didn't like the environment. I was like, man, this is not what I'm here for. Like, no. So I set personal goals for myself. I'm like, hey, when I go in here, I'm going to try to open up 5 or 6 accounts and then do this, so I had personal goals. So I kind of got blinded by those personal goals, and I didn't even know what they were doing. I didn't care because I knew what I was there for. And long term, that really helped me out, and it helped me to move up and progress in the company, because I still do it now, and it works.
Yeah, and Tim, it sounds like that was a part of self-awareness and reflection that happened on the job.
Yes.
And I think that there's one thing that we always want students to know is you are going to continue to learn, grow, and evolve. Just like you said, I mean, there's a phrase I like, you don't know what you don't know. And that is going to continue throughout your work life, if you're lucky,
Right.
I think. And so I think you bring up another competency, if you will, or skill or experience of adaptability. And I hear that from employers all the time. Just got to bump and run, pick yourself up. And, back to the accountability part, as difficult as this pandemic has been for everyone, I hope that this is something that students are learning about themselves. It's not easy every day, but hopefully they realize, okay, even if they're involved with asynchronous learning, to create that schedule and to figure out the structures that work well and serve them. So maybe you're going to see this pandemic play out in some really positive ways with the hires that are coming to you in the next 6 to 12 months and beyond, I hope. Okay, I think I'm getting lost in all the good answers. I'm losing track. All right, can you give any other examples? Let's talk about translating the experiences and skills to the materials and the way you present in the application process. Any good examples that really stand out? How students show the fit. That's not the best word. Their qualifications for your roles. Some things that might seem really obvious, or maybe some things that are a little bit surprising. How those are presented on a resume and in an interview. And I'll just let anybody jump in there.
I can start this one if you want.
Go ahead.
So yeah, when we look at the resume, we're checking it out before you come into the interview. So I would say it's important to be able to explain each of those in depth and be able to relate them to something that's real world associated with the position that you're applying for. So a lot of the leadership positions, we're going to dig in. We're going to ask, how did you get involved in that? What are some of the accomplishments that you made during that time? What are some things you've learned? How have you bettered yourself? So be able to explain those other than just, it was a leadership position doing this, and here's what the responsibilities were. We want to know why. And a lot of that goes into just the entire process. When we go in and we ask you in detail about something, we want you to have done your research on the back end about the company and find out some of the questions we've been asking, which all that's out there, but have you put the time in to search for it and then prepare, how to answer those when we go through it with you. And that translates into what we do on the job on a daily basis, where we don't go into an account. I'm sure this is the same with both the other companies. We don't go into an account, with a blindfold on and say, hey, what you interested in today? What do you want to buy from me? We go in there with a plan. We know what we're trying to get from them. We've done our research on the back end. So if you're doing that, going into an interview or even just a discussion at a career fair with us, then that shows us that you're willing to put those extra steps in on the back end to make a better result.
Anybody else?
Yeah, your resume. I cannot overstress the importance of a crisp, to the point resume. Keep in mind that some of us, and I don't mind telling, I look at hundreds of resumes. I may only look at a resume for 20 seconds, and I'm looking at what jumps out at me. First thing I'm looking at is where they go to school. If they went to App State, I move them to the top of the list.
Roll Nears, baby.
Yes.
And but then I'm looking for work while in school, because I want to know if you can balance work and school. If you can do those two things, even if it's only 10 or 15 hours a week, that tells me you've got grit and the ability to prioritize and schedule and plan. I'm also looking for jobs where maybe you have the opportunity for decision making and customer service. So make sure those things pop off the resume. And then, of course, when you get to the in-person piece, whether it's at a career fair, which I miss terribly, Deanne knows how much I miss them, and I can't wait till the fall when we get back in person. But you know, those first few seconds, the handshake, the smile, the eye contact, can't overstress that. And of course, you know, how you dress, those type things. But yeah, the resume is very important. You have great resources at App State. There is not another college in North Carolina that makes themselves available to help the students be prepared better than App State. I can tell you flat out, there's none that do a better job. There's none that care as much as people like Deanne. And I'm not saying just because she's on the call, but all of the staff there care so much about the kids, and they will help you. Please take advantage of that, because they will give you very valuable feedback on things like resume and job hunting and presentation and dress, everything.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we're real proud of our team here.
Should be.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, it's very important to sell yourself. Like, even at the career fair, even before the interview, what is something that we are going to remember you by? You know, and that's being confident, knowing exactly what you bring to the table, and just not being afraid to let it all out, even whenever you just shake their hand and you meet them at that tent. Because I promise you, we'll remember you. Like, man, you remember that one girl that came up and shook her hand and she was so excited, and she, you know, and it's just little things like that, and it will go a long way. So be confident and know what your skills are that you're bringing to the table, and just grow off of that. And just I want you to come in almost overconfident, but not to the point of, like, you know, it's, you know, you're not open to learn, like you know everything. It's not like that. It's just personality wise, what you're bringing to the table. Sell yourself, and make sure whatever you do, you do something that we will remember you for in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to go off of that point, I'd say being able to come in confident is being prepared. So if you were prepared, you're going to be more confident in an interview process. And just coming from a place where I was a dance major and all I had was dance background, going into the insurance industry, I was like, I don't know how they're going to see how dance can translate into insurance. So if you are going from a major and applying for a position that may not necessarily seem related, I would go into the interview process or even the application process just preparing for how can I translate what I know into what this job is asking of me. So for example, dance requires a lot of critical thinking to learn choreography, to think on your feet really quickly, and to be, it's just understanding how things work in chronological order, things like that. So again, just that critical thinking. And so I would explain in my interview that, you know, I may not have a lot of insurance background, but I can translate my skill of critical thinking from dance into learning about insurance, and then again, being more successful in the position. So just displaying that for anyone who's interviewing you is so beneficial. And just, again, thinking ahead of time, how can my knowledge translate into this position?
Good point. Mac, you want to add on?
I would say critical question or two.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm good. I just said I was saying lines of inquiry. So it's good if you are the candidate going into the interview, having a set of critical questions for the interviewer is very good too, because I mean that's a good way to drive that interview in different directions and to show them that you are prepared as well. So
absolutely, that is a very good point. That does show preparation, shows interest. That's a good point. Mac, did you want to round out that?
No, I mean, I think we hit everything that I'm looking for as well there.
I think what, on behalf of the campus, I would love to stress to students that we commonly see this. And that is, I mean, even when you think about the top leaders on campus, however that's defined, people who have been really involved, I consistently see, I think this reflects the humility of the Appalachian student, but I consistently see students underselling themselves. And along with that preparation, I want to encourage students, and please tell all your friends, use your coaching staff on our campus to sit down and discuss your resume. A common mistake, it's not wrong by any means, is that we just tell what we did in a part-time job. You know, we might say we were a server, and most of us know what's involved in food services, but really dive deeper into what was involved in that job, the skills you used, the skills you learned, because that customer service work is so incredibly valuable. And we can help you interpret your experiences, even class projects, your volunteer work. We can help you interpret all of these experiences to the position, as Jana, or you know, and broadly too. But as Jenna was mentioning, you know, then once you do that well, generally, what you want to do to be most successful is then apply it directly to the positions you're applying for. So please take the time to look at the job descriptions and think of it as a rubric, and think of it as a checklist, and think, okay, I've done this and I've done this and I've done that. And then if there's something you haven't done, okay, be aware of it, but just continue to follow how you're relevant and the strengths that you do bring, and that will serve you really well. But you might want to talk to some of us so that we can help you understand how you best tell your story. We know the campus, we know some of the employers you might have worked for in the area or the organizations you volunteered with, and that's what we love to do. So I just wanted to make a plug. I'm very cognizant of time, and so I think what I would like to do very quickly is ask each panelist, would you very quickly offer a point of pride about your company? And one last, you know, if there's one last burning suggestion or recommendation that you have to students in general, looking for employment, looking for internships, what would that one last suggestion or recommendation be? And then we'll hopefully see if Thomas or Kennedy have any questions.
Well, I would say my points of pride, a great example is right here on the screen with us, Jenna. I mean, any good hire I've made who has turned out to be successful, I take a lot of pride in that. And as far as advice to you guys, don't undersell yourself. I heard somebody else say that, and leave yourself open. I never thought about insurance, yet alone being specifically a claim rep. While I was in college, I majored in mathematics. Never thought about it. And I've been here 33 years, and it's been a great ride for me with a lot of opportunities. So when you see postings for different positions, don't automatically think that it does not tie into your major, because you have skills that you can translate, like Deanne said, into skills that are needed for that job. So make sure you leave yourself open to all sorts of careers and opportunities that you've not even thought about yet.
Yes. Yeah, and going off of Mark, just something that I'm so proud to say our company is that we are so inviting and we have an awesome environment to work in. The people here are absolutely amazing, and they are really what makes me excited to come to work every day, is just getting to see everybody that I work with. Of course, it's a little different now with everybody working from home and such, but we do have a few people in the office, but that is definitely something that I enjoy. And then it's just such a fun environment. So there is that. And then the last piece of advice, again, I was going to say, be open-minded, just kind of like Mark, because you never know what position you might find that you really love or enjoy. And it could be completely unrelated to something else that you may love and enjoy that you may major in, and vice versa. But yeah, so just be open-minded in the process.
Awesome. Jenna and Mark took mine. Be open-minded. I actually typed that a while back. But I would say my pride with the company is, one, being the largest paint company in the world, and having the ability to start just a person to walk in the store, to start them a new business and grow it and have a long-term relationship, and, I love that. And that's every day. So it's always something new every day. And that's what I'm about, traveling, meeting new people, and keeping that strong relationship as long as I can. So.
Yeah, I remember you saying you liked that you got to move around and travel and go to meetings and attend training. So that's really great.
Like 300 miles a day, man. It's a lot.
And some people wouldn't like that, but that's good. The good that you knew that about yourself. Go, Mac. Let's hear what you've got to do to conclude that part.
So one of the big things for me that got me involved was just the family aspect of Gallo. Everything that we have, even a lot of our brands say Gallo family on there. And there are a lot of companies that are family owned that put that message out there as well. But I think that within Gallo, and hearing what a lot of my friends say that work for other companies, there's a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions and beliefs and political things, and incorporating all of that. There's a lot of folks say, don't bring this to work, don't bring that to work. I think Gallo as a company has done an incredible job with diversity and inclusion, and being able to bring that within the workforce, and also incorporate it into the family aspect of the company without really going, over the I guess you could say, a guardrail on any side, where everybody within the company seems to be really pleased with the approach that they've taken to it. Everybody feels really comfortable working for Gallo. They feel like positions are, being shifted, and people are getting opportunities based on, real-time performance and real reasons why they should be in positions. And Glassdoor is always, to me, it's been kind of the open eyes for what a lot of companies are really like on the inside. And, coming out of college, I thought Glassdoor was kind of, a joke at that time. It was where people went to bash companies. But looking back on it now, it's almost like it's there, it's staying. So you might as well take the criticism and try to improve based on that. And looking at Glassdoor and some of the awards that they give out, we've gotten a lot of awards for the family environment that we have, the diversity and inclusion. And I feel like I take a lot of pride in that, especially with the weight that has in this time.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate all the responses and feedback. Thomas and Kennedy, not to put you on the spot.
Put them on the spot. I want to hear from them.
Do you have have we hit the mark here in what you expected to learn or gain from this time together? And if not, is there a question you can pose to these panelists to get that information?
Yeah, there's one question.
No. You can go, Thomas. You can go.
Okay, thank you. There's one question I had. So, going off the skills employers look for, is there anything additional to those 8 that are also considered?
Repeat that just one more time, Thomas.
Okay, sorry. So out of the 8 skills that employers consider, are there any additional ones on there that are also looked at?
I know I mentioned I like to look for that those who have worked during school, showing that they can balance. Because when you get out in the real world, you're going to have work and home life, and being able to balance. And if I see kids who have been able to balance the work and the school, the rigors of education, and done well, I love to see that. So that's definitely, I don't know that was on the bullets, but I love to see work experience along with school.
I remember adaptability coming up and self-motivation.
I can bring, so adaptability is very crucial to us as well, just because we have, I can't even tell you how many stores we have, hundreds of stores, especially in North Carolina. Each store has its own culture. So you really have to have the ability to adapt to their culture, because with Sherwin-Williams, you know, people move quick, but they also could move a lot. So they can go from store to store, maybe a store each year. So you're going to be with a different team, and not every team functions the same way as the other ones. So you really have to be able to adapt, or, you know, you might clash on some things and, you know, kind of go against their way of doing things as well. So adaptability is important. And also just for situational things, you know, when you have a customer, you need to be able to adapt to their communication style. You might have somebody that's more reserved, so you can't come in there full throttle, or it's going to push them away. They're going to run from you. So you have to adapt, slow down, get down to their communication style, and just kind of see things from how they want it to be seen, you know. So adaptability is definitely it can go a long way with a lot of different things.
Thomas, what are you majoring in?
Communication.
Yeah, that was on my list of ones I've just hired for the next class.
I was a communications major.
Perfect.
Is that helpful, Thomas?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Kennedy, we'd love to hear your question.
Okay, I can turn on my camera now because I'm not doing anything. Hi. Okay,
Hi.
so hi. Okay, so my major is East Asian languages and cultures with a concentration in Chinese, and I have a human resource management minor. So this year, well, not this year, last year, I was supposed to study abroad, but you know, the pandemic, it ruined everything. And this is my senior year, and I'm about to graduate not being able to study abroad. And I have been taking like Chinese since like middle school. I'm not necessarily fluent, but I was hoping studying abroad would like help me, but I still have like the knowledge background. And for me, I just want to know, like, okay, since me studying abroad was supposed to be like the biggest factor of like me wanting to like pursue Chinese and everything and potentially going into HR, do you think like a lack of experience would hinder myself getting into any field like potentially that I can like merge my skills into?
Well, I know we have an HR department, you know, so even though Sherwin-Williams is, you know, paint, store, sales, there's so many opportunities within Sherwin-Williams, you know, so you can do an internship just to kind of learn about the company. But through that internship, you can see all the careers that you can pursue, you know, so you don't necessarily have to be a outside sales rep or a store manager. We have HRs, we have lab people, we have people in labs. But like I said, there's different areas around the US. So like I said, being open-minded and just kind of learning about the departments is what I would probably do, you know, because I would, like I said, just don't be afraid of just Sherwin-Williams Paint Company, you know, or his company. You know, it's good to see what careers they offer within the company. So I feel like that'll help you out a lot. And I actually have some links to send you the end if you want to send it to them. It has like our careers page and all that stuff.
Great, thank you.
So I'll send that to you after the meeting.
Kennedy, are you wanting to necessarily have a job where you can utilize your Chinese skills?
Yes and no, but I'm also I'm an outgoing, but I'm necessarily a reserved type of person. So like if I needed to use my skills, I can be like, yes, I can do it. But like, am I really confident? Because I didn't get a chance to immerse myself. So I'm like half and half. But yes, that's my answer.
Because it would be rare that you had the opportunity to use that skill here as a claim rep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that. But hey, I love the fact that you've been disciplined enough to learn another language. That takes skill and work and commitment. So that's a plus for whatever.
And a hard one at that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So way to go. Way to persist.
So my company bilinguals too. You know, they love bilingual. Like, I wish I was bilingual, to be honest.
So we have operations across the whole world. So there's Gallo of Asia, there's Gallo of Europe, Gallo of Americas. So we've got different setups in that fashion, but we don't necessarily hire to bring in and then like push you onto that. So I think our big question is something that you would have to just kind of, think about to yourself. And if it's, what are your goals in the long run? Are you looking to kind of find something and see if it works and kind of, not necessarily force it, but just see how it works out? Or do you have, an ultimate goal in the back of your mind of where you want to be 5 years, 10 years? And, no, I don't expect you to know that like right now. I'm just saying if, it got to that point we were interviewing, that would be something that we would ask. And that would probably be on the top of my mind, because we want to make sure that, not that, like if you made it through all of our recruiting, that we were putting you in a position to succeed and not setting you up to where you're going to end up wanting to go do something else later down the road. So put a lot of investment in the people that we hire, and we just want to make sure that the fit is going to work out. So I would put some time into thinking about that.
And I also have another question. You were talking about like knowing your skills. Like, I don't necessarily know like what skills I have. Like, I know in high school I did SGA, so I guess you could say leadership, and I guess I'm good at like multitasking. But how am I supposed to put like my real life experiences into like a proper like resume so people can know like, hey, I've done this, but I don't know if this is important.
So that's where you can do a few things. I mean, use your coaching staff here at Appalachian State. I'm not a career coach, but I'm happy to, and we can stay on this meeting afterwards if you have a few minutes, if you don't have another commitment, and I can run through all of this. But you want to just talk to people. Your Appalachian colleagues, even your peers. And then I can't stress, these kinds of engagements. So congratulations and thank you for being here. But there are people like Mark and Mac and Tim and Jenna everywhere who want to help, and they would be willing to give you 10 minutes or so, maybe more, just to talk and listen to you. And sometimes it just takes you expanding on your experiences and what you've done. And then we can start to tease out the relevance and the value that you're not seeing just yet, but you will. And one tip I always share about resumes is you'll talk to 5 people, you'll get 5 different perspectives, and you'll get frustrated. And I usually tell people, and it's easy to put it away and walk away, but that's the last thing you should do. And so I tell people, if you're not frustrated, you're not working hard enough on it, more than likely. But talk to all those people, get all the opinions you can. And then eventually you just got to get to a point where you sit down with it. It's you in the paper, it's you in the screen, and you get to work. And you determine, this is who I am, this is what I want to share. And whatever you put on paper, you just have to own it. Because the employers in the interviews will be asking you to give them examples and give scenarios, and situational interviewing is very commonplace now. And it'll take practice, just like Jenna said, prepare. And I'm happy to hang on, in this meeting and tell you a little bit more about that. You're on the right track for sure. Absolutely. Like I said, all these people are probably in awe of you for studying Chinese. So, we're fans already. So let's hang on if you can. And anybody else? I would love to close again by thanking the employers, taking time from your workday. Students, I know that this is a challenging time. Thank you for spending time with them and with me. And we appreciate these companies hiring from Appalachian, because again, we know that they are very committed to hiring our best and brightest and training and developing you. What I know for certain is if they can get you and keep you for the long term and develop you long term, that is their ultimate goal, which might seem scary. You don't have to make a lifetime commitment when you accept the first position, but you are looking at organizations that would be very happy to develop you long term or for your whole career. And I think that brings some security for a lot of students. So I'm going to hit the record button. Will end.